Once upon a time, our storytellers gather, bringing with them only a set of dice, a scroll of magical story elements, and a passion to create. Rolling for genre, setting and time, and character archetype, our storytellers Ethan, Ari, and Nathan weave a tale right before your very eyes. Stay a while and listen as we share our creativity in progress.
Hello and welcome to Creativity in Progress. And Happy New Year's. Wow. And we're off. And
Wow.
at least we're live. Happy Memorial Day to you all. By the way, Happy New Year's too. Why not? I hope your year's been good, even though we're literally halfway through the year. As always, unfortunately, I am your host, Ethan Murphy, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Nathan Beatty Jr. III. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing good.
Doing better than me, I would say.
One day we will all have an enthusiastic response.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yes. And that voice you hear is, of course, the loveliest of co-hosts, Ari Owner. How are you, Ari?
I am pretty good. Much better than last week. Thank you for asking.
That's
Okay, good. That's progress. Okay, cool. So we're going to thank you guys all for coming back to the show. If you're coming back, if it's your first time here, we'll give you a quick rundown, even though the opening pretty much did it. This is a show where we make up a story on the fly for you guys based off of what we roll. Think of it as we're your parents giving you a bedtime story, and we're kind of making it up as we go along. So last time on the show, we rolled our die, and we came up with the genre, setting, time, and 3 archetypes. The genre we had was a buddy cop. Setting was a hidden city. Time period was the present. Archetype number 1 was a protector. Archetype number 2 was a scavenger. And archetype number 3 was a nurse, right? And so previously on Creativity in Progress, our main scavenger character was trying to break into a building and steal something. She failed horribly and barely managed to escape and was forced to go to a hospital to recoup. While there, she bumped into an old acquaintance from the past, this nurse named, we'll call him Steve. They had a big, huge bickering battle to show that they had all kinds of troubles and whatnot. And Ellie, of course, or whoever our scavenger character's name is, left in a bit of a huff to go back and try to break into this building again to claim her treasure. And then our nurse character, Steve, of course, was so begrudgingly upset with what she did. He didn't want to help her, but then reluctantly he decides to do so. In the process, while Ellie is trying to steal her item, she successfully steals it this time, but of course alerts the censors, and the gangsters or the mob that she's stealing from find out about it. Our Steve character shows up just in time to basically help her escape in a Jeep. As a duo is escaping, Ellie reveals to him exactly what she's trying to do. She's trying to find a hidden city, and the item that she's found is supposed to help her get to it. The item itself only is written in a dead language, so the two of them have to go to a bit of an expert to help them decipher it. Once they go there, the person kind of leads them on their way. However, this person that helps them along their way also tips off another party to let them know that they're coming. And this person is our protector, who is sitting somewhere near the hidden city. And that was the end of Act 1. And then we were just kind of loosely calling the story either To Be Determined or Lawful Chaos or Ari drinking sacks of water or something. But
See, without context, it's just confusing.
With context, it's not too much better.
True.
All right. So, guys, that was pretty much where Act 1 ended.
Okay. So, all right. That's what I've got. So
Right. well, I think so. Where to a little bit to pick up, you guys, it was you and Nate and Ari. You guys had the idea that the biggest thing wasn't third act. We had a lot of the third act mapped out. Was that what the hidden city actually houses, so to speak, is more or less like a gateway or portal to something kind of evil. It's not a treasure in that traditional sense. It's like it's a kind of like a very powerful being or entity that's housed there. And so the protector is trying to keep people away from that.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we make sure we got that straight. And then as far as our heroes, Ellie and Steve, I'm calling them Ellie and Steve. They had just found MacGuffin number 1, basically, and they were on the road trying to get to. So I guess we could pick up is to establish what the person told them, that item they had the MacGuffin that Ellie stole from a gangster's house. Where does that point them? Where does that lead them next in their quest?
Well, I would assume that it points them straight to the city somehow, or at least to like the path into the city, and getting into the city is like this action adventure sequence of trying to avoid traps and solving puzzles.
Sure, and that's perfectly fine. I guess the things we had to factor in is the idea that it is obviously a hidden city of some kind. So how it could lead them to, say, the proper, some kind of, I think we said coordinates or something like that is what we talked about.
Yeah.
So it's basically kind of points them in the pretty good direction, but it's still maybe in the middle of a jungle or whatnot, or some kind of an area that it's not a breeze, and they can't just walk up to it.
Difficult to reverse.
Yes, difficult to traverse. Yeah, and then one thing that happened too is obviously as we're hearing more during this, there's going to be a lot of back and forth between Ellie and Steve as far as how they may be revealed that Ellie and Steve, obviously they have chemistry with each other, they kind of like each other, but there's some things about each other they couldn't get past. That'll be the bickering back and forth. And then while they're doing this, of course, you'll see that perhaps Ellie is helping him through the jungle as he's kind of tripping over, vines and things like that nature, or it was kind of, we'll see the characters show that they still do care about each other as they're traversing through this stuff.
Yeah, like they save each other maybe a couple times.
Right.
Like the things that they come up against cannot be solved by just one person.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So that would be a good way to show them like rebonding.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one thing that happened last time, was that there was like a puzzle box that Ellie stole, and she's not really good with puzzle boxes, and Steve is more cerebral, so he's able to figure that kind of stuff out. So as they're going through these traps and things of that nature in this jungle trying to get to the hidden city, when it comes to the physical stuff, Ellie can get to it pretty easily, but obviously Steve struggles when it comes to figuring out some kind of a puzzle that they have to figure out how to open a secret door or whatnot. That's where Steve shines, and that's where Ellie kind of has to take a back seat, basically.
Yeah.
And I imagine in order to actually get into the hidden city itself properly, there'll be like one test where they have to both work together entirely. It requires both of them on their side. And I guess that,
a much more like sophisticated video game thing where, like, in Final Fantasy VII, you have to like two characters have to pull the same two different levers at the same exact time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
But slightly more sophisticated.
Well, no, that's actually a good idea as far as separating the two of them. That's something like that.
Get separated, and then by that point they're like, no, I can't let you out of my sight. This is a terrible idea. We have to look after each other.
Right. Yeah. And obviously they don't want to be separated. They're kind of forced to. Whatever they're, I guess what the coordinates lead them to essentially is a massive trial, kind of an old school trial. In order, if you can survive this trial, you're deemed worthy enough to get into the hidden city. And so this trial, along the way, they've been able to get to navigate these problems together. And then, of course, the trial itself deliberately separates the two of them. And so when they're on their own, they're not kind of, in a way, forced to, think about what would Steve do or what would Ellie do in this situation, kind of thing.
Right.
And we can actually show them kind of cutting back and forth as they're kind of trying to think in their heads of. That could be kind of a fun scene as well, seeing like them getting. What would the other person do that made me so angry that would actually help and kind of watch them channel that anger in a way.
Mm-hmm. I also I like the idea of having like you mentioned having them save each other, and I think it would be interesting if like in the like maybe in the puzzles, it's in the puzzling, like there's maybe once or twice where Steve realizes, oh, if we do this wrong, we get squished. And so he figures out, like, he saves her in a way, like in a couple of times through the puzzles where she's saving him out in the jungle, like, like he's about to, step into a swamp and sink up to his, above his head, where he's saving her in the shrines with the puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that works a lot too. It definitely does. I think it would also be something like, it would have to be, obviously, once they are separated at the end of the final trial, essentially, it would have to be essentially there's a massive puzzle that Ellie has to solve, and there's a physical challenge of some sort that Steve has to solve. And it may be something that they're not. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I love shit like that when, you have these two characters who are good at two different things, and then they have this bonding learning experience with each other, and then they're forced to now do the things that the other is good at, but they can do it now because they've learned.
That's their arc. They've grown together. Yes. And so that's what we're seeing. So it doesn't have to be anything too elaborate, but there's obviously some kind of a trap that they both solve their traps, and they both come out. They both emerge victorious. And as the doors open and whatnot, we actually show them hugging each other. And it could be actually that they show them that they're getting ready to. It could be a moment that they almost are tempted to kiss or whatnot during an embrace. They actually really do come close to doing that, and we can go either way as far as like having them kiss. They get so comfortable when they do kiss, or they actually get really close to doing it, see each other, and kind of stop, and then of course something else comes. Like
I like
protector shows up,
because I like the idea of prolonging the tension, but now the audience is like, oh yeah, okay, so they get it, we all get it.
we all know we're watching. This is happening. We get it
exactly, because they're in the middle of a very dangerous situation, so there's really no time to be macking on each other yet.
Yeah. No.
But I do like that like moment of, oh shit,
Yeah, oh shit moments are crucial. They definitely are. I think one thing too, not to backstep too much, but so we have our protector character. We could have it that all these traps and machinations that have been going on throughout this the trials, essentially he's been kind of like a voice, almost like a jigsaw in a way, over the intercom or something, that telling him about or they could have seen him. Do you want to have it that he's basically been the voice of God to them during these trials, as far as saying what they have to do in order to survive them or not, or just reveal at the very end once they get through?
I do like the idea of him being there as a voice, but he seems like the kind of person who'd be like, turn back now, you absolute morons.
Yeah, I think that works better.
Yeah, and like, trying to get them to turn back, and obviously the audience is still like, oh, this is a bad guy, like you're trying to stop our heroes from doing the cool shit. Well, how dare you?
Yes. And
then the reveal is later, somehow, at some point.
That's perfect. The idea is almost like he's trying to warn them to stay away.
Yeah, get out of here, you dumbasses! What are you doing?
Exactly.
right. Like get off my porch, and he's already as a wife beater.
Get off my grass.
Get off my grass. You're killing the lawns and the daisies. What we could do, I think what it could be, I don't know how you're going to play this, because we haven't really gone into his personality. We have Steve and Ellie, but we don't have his at all. Once they are, they're so relieved they still survive and see the other person alive. Once they come out of their own individualized traps, they hug each other, a real strong embrace, and they kind of look each other in the eyes like, oh my gosh, we have feelings. And then we could either have our protector character do the old school slow clap, or have him just be really upset, like, you guys have no idea what you've done. Why are you here? It's like, I mean, we have to have some. That's where his intro would have to be in a way. It has to be-
He's gotten so fed up with their bullshit at this point that he like straight up just shoots one of them, maybe with an arrow.
Interesting. Interesting.
Right after their moment, maybe he shoots Steve because he's the smart one.
He's the nurse. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you know, he's the one who can. He's the most valuable player at this point because he is the nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so and then obviously he readies another shot for Ellie, but she's like, and jumps out of the way, because she's, you know, physically able to do that.
Right. Or yes. It's more. That's right. Yeah, I like that. I see it kind of as a warning shot. Like, I'm going to shoot. The way I see it is like, either way could work. If he does shoot Steve, he's like, hey, I'll shoot him. Disable him. You're the stronger of the two. You can pick him up, and you two can leave still, and that's fine. Or he can shoot Steve and say, that's your brains of this outfit. Without him, you're nowhere. You got to go anywhere. And then as he pretty much tries to fire again, she could pick him up and dive and kind of push the two of them out of the way safely.
Right.
Either way it can go. But I think I like the idea of the shot. That has to happen.
Be like, oh, you right though. I guess I'll just leave. No, she's gonna be like, you shot my love interest, you asshole. Now you die.
Yes.
So, and then
she will say love interest too. Yeah.
No, she will. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah.
And then that triggers probably a sequence of her trying to get to him, to the protector, try and take him out.
Right.
And I have this thought of like, she's trying to get to him, and she leaves Steve in a safe place, and maybe there's like this happened right when they were trying to figure out the final puzzle, and he figures it out, and by him solving it and doing whatever he needs to do, pulling what lever or whatever, that kind of either traps the protector or kills the protector or something right as he's about to kill her. So like
yes.
It takes it to like a climax, and then he just kind of swoops in and is like, well, I don't want to say swoops in, but he like figures it out, you know, and solves it, you know, just throwing
it.
Yeah. I think what you're hinting at more or less is divide and conquer. It seems like basically, so the way I see it more or less is step one, they're embracing each other. Step two, as they're getting ready to possibly kiss or whatnot, the protector does come in and he shoots Steve. And then Ellie quickly grabs Steve and he knocks him out of the way, and they kind of hide behind a rock or something like that. The protector starts pontificating or monologuing, whatever you want to call it, a little bit, as far as you guys have no idea what you've done. This is so reckless, all kind of stuff like that. And then while they're behind the rock, Ellie and Steve come up with an idea as far as how to take this guy down. Like maybe the two of them, Ellie sees like some kind of like device hanging above his head or whatnot, and she's like, I can get around there if you can, or I can do this if you do this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then she goes around she keeps running around, keeps drawing away his fire, while, like you said, Nate, Steve goes into action as far as opening up another puzzle cube. And it could be something that literally, because they've been through so many of these traps, he now knows how the traps work. And basically his idea is to put him in a trap itself.
Yeah.
Because the protector's so distracted, he's not being mindful of the trap. He's just trying to kill Ellie or shoot Ellie, what have you.
Yeah.
And so the last way to deliver the final blow, it looks like he has Ellie trapped or cornered, and that's when Steve solves a muscle part of the puzzle, and of course it traps the protector essentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I don't want to kill the protector now, because we still need to have. There has to be on some level someone to deliver some of the exposition to them. They don't. All Ellie really knows is that there's a hidden city, and she believes there's a treasure. She doesn't know what the treasure really is just yet.
Well, maybe.
Good. Sorry. Do you want to?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So, well, at this point, I was thinking that like they're already there, right? They're already in the city, and that's why the protector is like, stop this. You have to stop this.
Yes.
And so they solve the thing and they trap the protector, and maybe at the same time it like triggers this countdown or some kind of like
Ooh.
the beginning of some sort of something that heralds the arrival of what the Protector is trying to protect. And he's like, "You fools, you absolute idiots! Look what you've done." And then he gives them a little bit of exposition, and they're like, shit, maybe we should keep you around to help us survive."
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There was something else that you mentioned. I love everything you said there too. As far as I love the word of the herald, or summoning a herald, full blown like a Silver Surfer or in Galactus. But the idea of he's like, "You fools, you have no idea what you've done." And you mentioned way back at the beginning of this episode that there was oftentimes I'll have two people, like one, they had to pull a lever or a switch together in unison or for something to open. It could be that when they do that together, they limp up Steve to the switch, and Ellie goes to her side of the switch, and they both, on the count of three, they pull it, and opens this big, huge, grand door, whatnot. And while they're getting ready to do that, before they do that, the Protector keeps screaming at them, "Stop, you have no idea what you're doing, you'll destroy the world," or something like that. And they don't believe him. And they open this door, and that's when it kind of does open up this massive door and we see this massive beast or whatever it is behind there.
Right. Maybe it's just the door, and then the Protector maybe explains that, I mean, you've opened the door, and so the beast has to choose to come through it, which might give them more time to like try and close it again.
Yeah.
I'm getting I know we just recently did a thing that was very Ghostbusteries, but I'm getting a very very like, oh, did he blow the power grid? You know.
Yes. Yeah.
And then now we have to fight ghosts to get them back.
Right. We did that with the cowboy and that's right. The cowboy. Yes.
But I think, like, as an idea, is that the monster is never seen. Maybe we have a reaction shot of one of the characters seeing the monster, and maybe they go a little badonk. But like, we don't see what it is. Just sort of that kind of Lovecraftian influence.
Perfect. Yeah. Old gods. Yeah. We can see like its glowing eyes, and maybe like here as it walks towards the gate, the paws are kind of like shaking the earth. And I think what will have to happen on some. Sorry, there's a helicopter flying overhead in LA. I think what we could do is, because we have our Protector still alive, we could go the route of having it once they've opened the door and kind of made this mistake together. They could be like, we have to team up. How do we stop this now? How do we close it back again?
Yeah.
And so it's about the three of them working, because again, like I said before, he's not really a bad guy. He's trying to do his job. He's
trying to protect, and like, I just love the idea of him being so tired and done. Like, finally, you're listening to me.
Now. Throw the road, Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. Yeah. So that could be how it kind of, it's the three of them working together with his knowledge and Steve's wit with traps, and then Ellie's physical abilities. They have to work together to stop this beast from coming from the other world.
I have this scene in my head of when, you know, they release the Cthulhu-esque monster. Yeah. And he's like, finally, you believe me now? Like, now? It takes now? And they're like, dude, we just thought you were Kooky Dukes. Like, we were just trying to get something that was, like, gold and shiny. We didn't realize that we were about to open the 9th gate to hell, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Well, now you know.
Right. They could even probably, he's like, well, you shot me, kind of thing. Like, yeah. No, hello, just you shoot. Yeah. Or also I guess it could be too. Why would there be a treasure here? Why would you hide a treasure? Because people hide treasures. That's what they do.
Did you ever stop to think why it was so hard to get here? God.
Yeah. So there could be a whole bunch of bickering between the three of them too.
Yeah. Just while like this entire place is crumbling around them, they're just bitching at each other.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I really like the idea of Steve and the Protector just going at it, and Elliot's like, guys. Yeah, it's like shit's falling apart, and they're just like, no, it's your fault. And she's like, we're all gonna die. So, you know,
right.
It's tropey, but you know.
No, it's still fun.
It's still okay. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I love it, and I love the idea too. I see the protector almost being like a Shakespeare, talking in an old English Shakespearean kind of way, almost like Fraser Crane chewing them out essentially.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that'd be great.
Like how dare they, all these kind of royal commands. It's a lot of fun. So there's a couple of options I guess we have as far as how to take down this beast. It could be part of what it is the promise of the premise. So since we've established this monstrous beast on some level, we don't have to see too much of it to really know what's going on. Like you said, we can have it where we see from the point of view of the characters that are kind of freaking out. We can just show that it's literally as it moves forward, it almost just causes destruction around it. Like it causes things to cave in and collapse and whatnot before you even have to see its actual presence, what it actually is. So part of what we could do is we could have the three of them have to work really hard just to escape the beast initially, to get away to somebody safe.
So, okay, so the ideal is to trap it back behind the door, but what if they can't do that because they opened the door? So the next step is to trap it inside the city. And so they have to find a way to destroy the city.
Right.
Which the protector hates, but he's like, oh, well, I guess.
Right. Well, I guess that's the whole point, because this whole city was hidden too.
Yeah.
So it may be that he was basically the last one person left in there anyways. So there's no one else to get harmed by it.
Yeah.
As it stands. And I guess you can always have a fun line when they say, we have to destroy the city. And then of course Ellie's like, leave that to me, kind of thing. So she's so yeah, we can have a big I'm sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I was just gonna say, like her saying, like, I got this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she winks. So yeah, I got that. Yeah.
And they both look at her like she's crazy.
Right. So we could definitely have a fun escape scene. There's like the whole world kind of. Do you guys remember? Have you guys seen DuckTales, the original DuckTales?
No.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Nate has.
Oh
okay.
Yes. I'm desperately trying to get my children to like it. I'm getting the new one. They're liking the new one. The old one, they're not totally on. But
the old one's so great.
Yeah.
But do you remember that part in the old one? It was in the original one. There's earlier episodes. There's a part where they go to the city of gold, the lost city of gold, and Scrooge, the other guy, get gold fever. And as the city of gold is literally falling into it, imploding into itself, it's collapsing inward. Like you see the bricks like falling down, like dropping down behind them as they're like literally running on the bricks as it's falling behind where they are. Something like that too, where you literally see the city like completely imploding because its demon has been released, so to speak. It's not exploding, it's imploding, trying to like cave itself in.
Implosion is good because that means it's all drawn back to the center, and so the monster will be drawn back to the center.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like if it was something like where the only way they can do it is to destroy the city, but to use a weapon or a thing or whatever, that'll essentially destroy the entire city by sucking it back into the gate.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I like that a lot. Okay. So I guess what do we have on hand, or what is something that they could have either on hand or that could be in the city that could be used?
Well, the protector would probably have something. Like he's probably magic using kind of guy, who is like, well, we have this last resort type of situation that we can do that I hate.
Right.
And of course they're like, do that.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, a countdown of some kind. And I guess to get Steve involved, it could be something where he has to like do the geometry of the coordinates to make sure it all works out right or what have you. And then Ellie could be our daredevil driver.
Yeah. And that it could be that it takes all three of them for that to have to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right. They organize some kind of a plan where as we see the monster overhead kind of walk, we don't see exactly what it is, obviously keeping the anonymity to it, but they kind of are going on the whole 4 points of this lost city, more or less setting up little traps. Steve is organizing these traps to get to work. The protector's using his kind of magic or otherworldly science that he knows to kind of corral the beast. While Ellie is driving really fast at breakneck speed in the Jeep that they have left still from their adventures.
Yeah, of course they have no, they don't.
But because that was what they got away from in the first part of the story.
Yeah,
from the gangster's house.
I mean, I'm not opposed to them having a Jeep, but I'm also wondering if they're going through this trial. Like, there's, I think maybe they left the Jeep.
Okay.
outside of the trial, and so they can use it to make a speedy getaway when things start collapsing. But
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
but I
Okay.
think that they would have been on foot for, getting into the city.
Okay. Yeah, to traverse through the jungle.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. And it could be we could have some fun here, obviously, because we're in a hidden city, and we're using otherworldly devices and things like that. Like the Protector knows how to do these kind of things. He may have actually set up a system of like not necessarily portals, but something like they help him kind of fast travel around the city in a way.
Mhm.
And he's able to kind of using that fast travel system, they're able to quickly navigate and kind of put things into place to kind of corral the beast.
You're thinking Breath of the Wild, aren't you?
Yeah,
I wasn't. I
playing
am now.
Breath of the Wild right now, so I'm just like, okay, dude,
You
you're
are?
about towers. Yeah, I am.
Oh, you're playing that right now. So am I.
Oh, no, you. So we'll have to have a
I've seen
conversation.
I've seen 3 walkthroughs of that game. I don't have a Switch, but I've seen 3 walkthroughs. So using Breath of the Wild rules, how would this? I know Link has a stasis and like the ice thing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go ahead. Let's double down on that. Why not have it? If we have someone that's a man of science, the Doctor. If you have someone that's a man of someone that's all risky adventure, that's Ellie. Why not have someone that's a man of weird,
Of magic.
basically? What kind of the Protector have?
Well, see, I'm worried of making it too easy, basically, because fast traveling. I mean, maybe it would take all of his power to transport 3 people outside of the city, or like to some kind of shrine or place.
Well, I have a thought that maybe kind of meld the two a little bit. Have it be kind of, because like Breath of the Wild is very big on like having there's this ancient tech that seems to work on tech and magic kind of at the same time.
Right.
And now with the game's fast travel system, it leans heavily into the magic piece. Like it's basically like maybe like future science in like essentially it's teleportation. But if you could do something kind of a mixture of it too, of have it be like a almost like a mine train system that works off this like magical tech-ish type thing where they can get through the city. It's not instantaneous, but it's definitely something that is like fast-ish, compared to, and getting through different points of the city. And and also it also gives an opportunity that there can be like a really cool rad chase scene, of like of them on the mine train trying to get away, and like rocks are falling and breaking the track behind them and that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. I guess what the easiest way to look at it is it's not exactly magic, but to us who are so unfamiliar with it, it just seems mystical.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's not full blown magic, and there are limitations to it as well. That could have been what they actually shot Steve with in the first place. It wasn't actually a gun. It was this kind of these mechanisms that he has, these kind of weird mechanisms that he uses. So yeah, go using that idea. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Because I also one thing to keep in mind is this whole hidden city was basically built to house this beast using mystical arts or whatnot. So it's designed, and if things go foobar, it is designed somewhat for this too. We have to give them that much credit. It's not just a door; it's also other things too.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, almost like the city itself is like there's the gate that's holding the thing, but then the city itself is almost like it has traps to keep people out, but it also has mechanisms to keep the beast in case the gate fails.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's the real. There we go. That's it.
What the Protector is like trying to lead them to, but it's very difficult. So they have to make this circuit around first, and then
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. There we go. That's it. So it's basically they have to initiate the self-destruct sequence for the city or enact the city's protocols. Yeah. Okay. All right. And whatever we'll just call it the Breath of the Wild system they have for it in place is fine. It's what they did, what they built. So I give them credit for that.
suddenly Hyrule.
The god.
Right. Oh, nice. And part of what we could have too is that as the Protector got trapped, he was injured, plus he's very old, and he can't necessarily operate them as well. But Steve, who is very smart and very adept at these kind of things, he's able to help him do it that much faster. Mm-hmm. So we could have the two of them working on setting up these devices and things of that nature, while Ellie is It could be that we could have a little simple thing where some of these, because they're so old, it's been so long that some of these things aren't, like Ellie kind of has to like fix certain parts. She has to like run there on foot, old school travel to get these things to be operational, like close tubes together or whatnot to make sure they're still functioning properly.
There's a physical, intellectual, and magical part to each of them.
Right. Okay. And so, like you said, Nate, as all three of them put their heads together as they get this big, huge, all these cogs and everything working together, we see it enacted, and we see this amazing trap go off that's kind of imploding to suck in or suck down whatever this beast into the city, kind of barely entrapping it, and they're able to kind of zoom out of there like a minecart, even Indiana Jones would do in fashion. And then from there, they of course get back into the Jeep and they drive off as miraculously quickly as possible, in nick of time to get away from the hidden city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like that.
And now, here's one last thing: do we want to have it that our protector character, that he survives, that he goes off with them, or he just lives another day, or he's like, this is my job, this is my home, this is what I'm here for?
Well, I mean, there's no more job or home for him to go back to. So he's kind of, I like the idea of him just being at a complete loss for what to do now. And Steve and Ellie are both like, no worries, man. We got you. We'll figure something out for you.
I love how you always want them all to survive.
Yeah, I do. Listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic, okay?
Fair. Wow. She literally played the pandemic card on me.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you there. All right.
Well done. For all the years I put the race card on you, you put the pandemic card on me. Fair enough. So, okay, well, give me this much then. He could say, in true like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, where the Last Crusader tries to wave his hand to Indiana Jones and say goodbye. He could say, "Oh, this is it. This is all I have. Goodbye." As the city tries to implode, and then Ellie says, "F that," grabs him and throws him into the Jeep, kind of thing.
Yeah, that seems.
Right.
Oh yeah. I like that.
And that seems in line with her character too.
I am not going to. And also, Steve is like, "No, I'm not. I'm a nurse. You're not going to die. That's
right.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop trying to be sacrificial. You're coming with us."
Yes. Fair. Yeah. That's the way. It also will play up like the music, like it's getting all sad and somber. Like, oh no, he's gonna die, and they quickly just grab him, and snatch him.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, look, God, dude, you can finally retire. Let's go.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we'll show that as they get in the car as they're driving away, and then actually kind of show that. And of course, now we got to do this as well. Our full blown kiss scene. And we could have it either, there's a couple of different ways. I'm just spitballing here. We could have it that our protected character is looking back at the city that's no more, like, well, that's gone, it's all over, and he turns back around and sees them kissing, or have it where we, the audience, see them initiate the kiss first, or whatever. I mean,
I like the idea of them almost like a revisiting of their first awkward conversation, but it's not hostile. This time it's cute.
Perfect.
Yes. And they're having this like awkward thing, and then one of them, I don't know which, one of them just goes in for the kiss. Like one of them's like,
there you go.
There
you go.
It's gotta be Ellie. Like, because of course she's
a risk taker. She's a risk taker. Yeah. So we see. Yeah. So Steve is like, you always have to make things so difficult. You always take these crazy chances. Me, you're always so why you're always so anal, retentive kind of thing. And then while Steve is ranting, she just kisses. And obviously it's playful. They're smiling, and she just goes in and kisses them. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, shut up. And
right. And then we see the protector like tries, is like, I'm leaving now. This is this is even worse than the beast kind of thing.
Maybe have his like stop the kiss, like, okay, guys, we're gonna leave because like you saved my life, but I really don't want to sit here and watch you like tongue wrestle,
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Perfect. And then so I guess that's for the most part the story in and of itself. And I mean, in a different kind of, no. I was thinking that the idea was like in a different kind of story. They'd be like, one of the characters would say, well, you didn't get any treasure, and then, of course they would look at him and say, oh, I have all the treasure I need, and kind of show them looking at each other all lustful eyed and everything. But that seems kind of corny for these two.
That's extremely corny.
Yeah, that's you're getting into Disney Spielberg land right there.
Yeah, that's what.
Just going by Ellie's character, I really don't think that she's gonna give it up. This is there's a sequel in here somewhere, you know?
Oh yeah.
No, yeah. There's obviously, this is not the end of our squad. I do, but there is one thing as far as it could be if there is some kind of memento to carry on forward, as far as like maybe even have it where they could say, well, all this, we had nothing to show for it. It could literally have like maybe Ellie snagged one of the teeth or something, or the fangs or the claws of the beast.
So what if the Protector, I mean, I'm still kind of trying to figure out how he looks, but what if he's just got a bunch of jewelry and shit? And
yeah. And he'd be like, well, what about this?
or even better, what if for him that's nothing? For him, that's just how he dresses. Exactly. But they're like, holy shit, you're wearing that stuff is like incredibly valuable. Because the technology that they used was like made out of diamonds or some shit like that. So yeah, for him it's nothing, but for them in our modern time, it's like extremely valuable. So it actually is enough to, yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. Quick note: I made one or two notes here, so it's very much not in here, but we remember the story, so that's good enough. I wrote nothing down. But it was a good enough story that we were so into it, I just didn't bother.
Yeah, well, that was one thing. Like as we're talking, I'm like, wow, this is like this sounds like a fantastic story. But I really don't know if we came up with the timeline. Like what happens when?
So I mean, yeah. The timeline.
Are we just gonna memento this? Like we're just gonna?
Ooh, we should memento everything. That's with Alzheimer's, we should definitely memento everything. I think basically it's like they said. The idea is from the time they get to the dead language expert and they go on their trip, we could show them in true Indiana Jones fashion as they're trying to traverse, they're traveling in a plane or whatnot to this random location, or even so a montage of them trying to get to this specific location, show them bickering back and forth as the music plays over them, getting to this place. And then once they get there, they get to this, big, huge labyrinth-style door, and the David Bowie voice says, beware, all who try to enter kind of thing. They go through the traps together, grow closer. If they still back and forth, then finally they're separated. They have to solve the traps. One of them, the one that's all about physicality, has to use her mind to solve a trap. The one that's all about mental stuff has to use his body to solve a trap, so to speak.
Well,
they didn't. Go ahead.
I don't think that it should be a montage. I think there should be, due focus given. I think that ever since the, so they get the thing translated and then they go off in search. I think that should be maybe 1 or 2 days. It's just immediate. It's like a roller coaster from there on.
Yes.
And that's like the second half of the film. Just
is them. So the second half is them search. From the start of the second half of the film is them trying to track down the coordinates.
I was like, y'all trying to turn this into a trilogy?
No. I'm making sure I understood what R was saying.
Yeah. Sorry. I guess I was.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there'll be beats there too where they do just talk. They have to, if they're traveling in a plane or in a jeep or what have you. If there is no gunfire or craziness, where they have to have a conversation. We have to build up. Essentially, this is a buddy comedy with a romance in it. We have to build up the kind of like make it clear again they do have feelings for each other, but also why they couldn't make it work before. So those things will be there, and make it clear that they do hold to their convictions. Steve does, like you said, wants to preserve life and doesn't want to see her harmed, and she loves the thrill, and she can't give that up either.
Right.
Kind of thing. Those things will be in the story. They're not going anywhere. We need to keep them around. Now, there was one element that was in the back of my mind, but I don't think it needs to be here. Was just the idea of the gangsters will possibly continue to follow them, but I don't really.
I think that's a complication.
Yeah, I don't need it in here. I don't think.
Yeah, I think almost like it would almost be interesting to like have it be either a thing where the guy just didn't know what he had and she was stealing it, like we could go with that route and just eliminate them altogether after the initial bit, or have it
Yeah.
be where he does chase after them, but something about one of the tests just kills them all. And then they're like, well, guess that's
That
calm enough to deal with.
actually, you know what? Now that you say that, I kind of want that. I kind of want to see where they think they can get the upper hand on them, and then the traps. That's kind of how we reveal the traps essentially that are either in the jungle or actually at the hidden city entrance, what have you. Is it kills them, kills the gangsters.
Yeah.
You know,
Use brute force, and obviously the traps don't work like that, and so then they all die, and then Steve and Ellie are
Yeah.
like, okay, so we won't do that.
well,
I think actually now that you mentioned it, maybe I think we need to have them in there for that reason. We need fodder. We need cannon fodder.
I have this vision of like they're going after and they're all suited up, and like you think that these are like Black Ops, you know, Green Beret type guys, and then they just start getting picked off in the jungle by like black mambas and leopards and you know whatever. And then at the end of the film, when the plate, like the last guy finally makes it in, and he's finally gets to the gate, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, where are they? I'm gonna kill them." And then they implode the city, and then he dies with
or even better. He's like, "Ha, I'm finally here." Has the big gun, and the giant paw of the beast steps on top of him, squishes him before he even matters. But yeah, I do love that idea of having that because it does show just how lethal. It builds up the prowess of the traps, the danger, how dangerous it is by showing these guys who are, you know, like you said, Black Ops or whatnot, getting destroyed by these things. And like you said too, there's no reality in which Ellie and Steve by themselves could, in a direct confrontation, beat them all. So it had to be something, another force. So if we have it set up that way, that works.
And I think it would be funny that like they wouldn't even know that the gangsters are on their tail until like much later.
Right.
They just have these, that's not, I mean, it sort of steps on the toes of what was already discussed, but I just love the mental image of them on their way out are just coming across these bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Steve looks at Ellie and goes, "Did you do this?" And she goes, "No."
Or even better. Steve looks at Ellie and she goes, "I didn't do this," kind of thing. Yeah. That's perfect. I really like them. Yeah, I think that would be a good story to come back to, just to see those two, what they do in the future adventures of those two. Essentially. Yeah. Would be a lot of fun. I don't know that the Protector would be around again, but I definitely like the idea of them. Real quick note: the story we did before, it was called "The Bad and the Weird," or the Good, not the Good, not the Weird. The one we did was it was the Demon Hunter.
Right.
As the story progressed, and it was that role was taken over by I guess his protege, whatever, that woman. I thought that story it was basically the Doctor and her teamed up as well. So those two were a team later on. It wasn't a solo act for her. She had her partners was him. And in this story, it's a similar situation where they're teamed up. Her and Steve were together on more adventures, doing more things together.
Yeah, I like that.
What can I say? I like teams.
I do too. And I'll be honest, I do have I have my own tropes. I like having a weird kind of nerdy scientist guy back up and part of the team, and having a weird loose cannon there. I do it all the time. I can't help it. I love it to pieces. So.
It's good. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, I think that is pretty much our story. As far as the title goes, did you guys want to have any thoughts on the title? I just called it Lawful Chaos. There's no real.
Well, I don't have a title, but I do have I mean, you know, we can think about it. This is the hardest part for me when it comes to stories, thinking up titles.
Oh, really? Okay. No, I got you. Yeah, it's not always the easiest thing.
I can.
Actually, go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
I was I can do podcast episode titles. I can't do.
Right. What did occur to me, because there was a whole chemistry between the two of them and whatnot. If something like "Till Death Do Us," "Till Death Do Us Rich" or whatever. But
see, okay. So, it's really cheesy. I don't know. Listen, if you want to name it that, do it.
Okay. We'll leave it up in the air for now. Then. Okay. And we pretty much did a recap already of the story just then. So, all right, Nate. So, did anybody have anything they wanted to say as we? Oh, actually, I gotta make sure I haven't peeped my dessert yet. So as always, it's my favorite part. It's everyone's favorite part of the goddamn show. It's Ari's drawn. Oh, okay. Ari, I'm not gonna say anything. Would you go ahead and describe it?
Have on. Yes.
Hello. Yeah.
Nate. Hello.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. You guys got a little garbly there for a second. I wasn't sure if it was me or y'all.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, so on the far left we have Steve, the nurse character, and in the middle we still have Ellie from last time, and on the far right we have our guardian character or protector character, and yeah, I mean I'm not exactly 100% certain about him or the protector, but what you know.
I really like that design.
No, I get too. I actually like the idea as well as him looking more ancient kind of thing, as opposed to him looking like a
well, you said old, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going in that direction, and then I ended up liking it.
I like how while we're paying her a compliment, she's getting defensive. Next time when I insult her, I'll
no. I sorry, I didn't mean to get defensive. I was just trying to explain my thought process.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Because I want to incorporate your ideas as well. I don't want it to just be all me.
It looks great. I actually really like it though. It looks amazing. So what I thought about we could do in a way is to help clarify for our listeners who can't see this, is if we kind of did a fan casting of your drawings, kind of help paint a picture.
A what now? I'm sorry.
A fan casting of your.
Oh, you mean for like actors and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Like what actors we could see playing these based off of the work you do.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be down with that. I leave it up to you though, you guys.
Okay. Well, Nate, do you have any? I have a couple ideas, but Nate, do you have some?
You go first. I want to be inspired by your ideas, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, the Ellie character. This is a weird reference, but she was I don't know her actual name, I'm sorry, but she was in the only good thing about the Iron Fist series on Netflix.
Oh,
yeah.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, that awesome Asian American woman. She was also recently in that Underwater Sea film. That's who I see playing that. The ancient guy, in honor, I mean, it's the late Max von Sydow. I see someone like him as our protector. Because he was still, even before he passed, he was like 6'4". He was a towering guy. He had booming voice as well. And then our Steve character, possibly someone like a Taye Diggs. Taye Diggs has played the kind of, I don't want to say nebbish nerd, but he's played the kind of neurotic, handsome nerd before. I see kind of that's.
I can see that.
I could see Taye Diggs. The only thing about Taye Diggs though is that he's just too sexy.
He's too sexy for this role.
He's just too sexy. Where I like, well, we fan casted this last week with the guy from Scrubs.
Zach Braff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
the other guy.
Oh yeah, the Turk. You're right. That's right. Yeah. So Donald Faison.
Yeah.
You're right. That works too, actually.
Before I looked at Ari's drawing, this was who I had in my head while we were talking about the Protector, is David Hyde Pierce. I don't know why I had him in my head, because it doesn't even really make sense, because he looks nothing like somebody who would be like chilling in a hidden city for millennia. But because when you mentioned Frasier, I was like,
yep, exactly.
I like Kelsey Grammer, but I really like David Hyde Pierce.
Well, I feel like David Hyde Pierce would be a much more fun person to kind of poke at in this situation. So yeah, I see why you chose him. That makes sense.
I can totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah, he would add a really nice extra level of comedy that's different from the nurse character's level of comedy that we had,
So it had to be a different kind of neurotic, in a way, but still powerful enough. Because Max von Sydow doesn't really. That's how he kind of looks, but Max von Sydow isn't really doing weird comedy like that. So
he would be all serious all the time.
Yeah, all serious all the time. And by the way, the character, the actress, her name is Jessica Henwick. She played Colleen Wing in the Iron Fist series, so that's why C is our Ellie character. So we have Donald Faison, Jessica Henwick, And we'll go with David Hyde Pierce. David Hyde Pierce. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Great stuff. Fantastic.
Cool.
And for next time, if you have like ideas of how you think the characters should look, feel free to toss out names, and I will try and incorporate.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that before. I kind of like just you taking the reins. I don't want to hinder artists.
It's not a hindrance. Like I enjoy taking direction as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think I noticed the way you made the nurse character look. I was like, oh, she remembered from last week.
Yeah,
and I forgot. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's a really good job. I completely forgot. Actually, that's on me. Yeah. And also see Nate's. I didn't see Nate's Aztecian kind of hidden city, which was great. It's in the valley there. Very nice. Very cool.
All right.
And then on my side, there's 3 notes, and that's it.
Oh. Well, no, you steered the ship, my friend.
I steered the ship into the iceberg. All right. But so that's about all we have for today. Nate, you want to go ahead and wrap this puppy up?
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, listening and watching today. You can check us out on YouTube. The VODs of these will be out there as well. And you also can listen to us on a podcast. We put this the audio out on the podcast stream. So if you happen to be listening to this as a podcast, please check us out on Twitch and YouTube. You can see the wonderful art that Ari draws. The mediocre art that I draw, and the 4 or 5 notes that Ethan puts down.
2 or 3.
2 or 3, with a couple of misspellings, but he always catches them. Anyway,
yeah, of course.
So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.